Well, Mbappe isn't on the list. Place your bets. I'll believe anything at this point. They're saying that Mbappe was ruled out of the Clásico 5 minutes before the end of training, to everyone's surprise. Although, as people say now, to no one's surprise, right? He finishes the training, and with 5 minutes left, he leaves. After everything that's happened, well, you start to have your doubts. You start to believe any theory, really, because nothing this man does is by chance. Let me say this up front. I'm going to say it now, and so it's not really up front, but anyway, I want to make it clear. With the injury he's had, in theory, with the recovery he's had on vacation, on a yacht and all that, that shouldn't be something to harm him. But as we've already mentioned quite a few times, I don't think it's the best way to recover from a situation. Active, but well, as Arbeloa said, the Real Madrid medical staff have their own ways of doing things, right? But anyway, for me, this guy couldn't be in the Clásico, and if he was going to be on the bench. Maybe he, since he feared it and said it, I don't want to be in that picture, not even on the bench. So he said, well, look, with 5 minutes left in the final Valdebebas training session, Mbappe stopped suddenly. The forward felt some discomfort in his hamstrings, said he couldn't continue, and left the session to everyone's surprise, according to what Marca has learned. The usual. Leave this a bit in doubt, but honestly, it's very unlikely they're making something like this up. If they're saying he leaves training 5 minutes early because he says, oh, I have a problem, it wouldn't be the first time. We've seen him do it in matches. We've seen him do it in matches with the French national team, for example. It's just that nothing this man does, sorry for the interruption, nothing this man does seems accidental to me anymore. Leaving 2 days in a row, mocking the training session after what had happened, then his coach comes out to defend him and tells us again that since he was a kid, he dreamed of playing for Real Madrid, that he made a great effort. We've seen how much Mbappe earns. They can't sell us that story here. And we're back to what Arbeloa said. It's not like those who just got into a fight are an example, nor that this guy has made a huge effort to come to Madrid. Look, I fell into that trap at some point, and you know what? After 2 years of being embarrassing, it's just that we go back to, did you see how much he makes? When I notice they're talking as if we're idiots. They just can't get us with that Arbeloa thing. El Clásico, it's going to be played at 9 at night Spain time, 6 hours earlier on the east coast of the United States. I ask you to be with me on Viga. We're going to react there live. It's just and about the video, so that luego para qué? That ordeal, listen, or maybe we'll play a great match. Then all together, by the way, you can play predictions. When you go into the link, you can, and we'll be there. By the way, which I haven't mentioned, it's not just Mbappe who's missing the match today, of course. We already know that. Fede Valverde, Arda Güler, a very important absence for me, not to mention Fernan Mendy. Eder Militao, Rodrigo, Dani Carvajal, and Dani Ceballos, the latter because of the coach's decision. Well, there was something that happened yesterday, I didn't mention it in the last video, in Flick's press conference before this Clásico that really upset me for 2 reasons. I'll tell you why now. I imagine, needless to say, you can already guess, but it's really outrageous. Just look. Now, I'll tell you who Juanito is, the one from Madrid, and everyone there laughs. Man, look, I can understand. I already imagine that because of everything they've done, but it's not just the same old story. Can you imagine it? But it's really a cheating club that paid the head of refereeing for 20 years and registers players after the deadline or with fake money. Mockery always comes from both sides. Look, con Juanito, tío, I'll tell you what, but what a lack of shame from those journalists / hooligans out there. I guess it's redundant. You can imagine it's really a league of its own. No pun intended. It's another league. Look, I think it's just out of obligation. I thought, well, he'll say something because when Juanito stepped on Mataos, that was basically the end. Well, yeah, Juanito, I think that was it. And he wasn't renewed. We're talking about the year 1987. And once I tell it, what then? Although, well, in that same match, after the game, he went to apologize and all that, but the image was already there. I imagine, as the saying goes, you can imagine it, but it was really outrageous. Pero ahí estaba, look, I'll tell you what, as the saying goes, you can imagine it, but it's really outrageous. Who is Juanito? Si se acuerda de él, I'll tell you, and excuse the repetition, it's outrageous. Look. Look, I'll explain now. To that question, he says, I don't know what to do with that question. Well, it's very simple. I know Juanito, but I'm not going to say anything. That's it. But don't lie. You get the idea. It's very, look, if you'll pardon the redundancy, you can imagine it. It's really, oh my, anyway. Let's see if this coming year, when Mu arrives, well, very soon, right? For this coming season, they'll set things straight. Although, watch out. With Mourinho, this is going to be... And now I think, look, and by the way, he answered today. And now let's see. I'll tell you what. I guess that's enough now. You can imagine it, but he's also much older. But I don't know. He doesn't have it. And I don't know if it's for better or worse. He doesn't have that energy he used to have. And I tell you... What? No tiene aquello, no. I imagine he answers the Portuguese journalist the same way here. Then he comes to Spain, sees what's going on here again, and gets even more pissed off. And I don't rule it out, but it's just that it's very... I don't see him there. I insist maybe this is positive because when he comes, he'll be calmer, but he'll still keep that firmness. Look, to the locker room, I hope so, because that's what we need, and that's why I'm saying it. I guess that's enough before the match that Benfica plays tomorrow in their league. To the question about Real Madrid, I think you can understand Portuguese, right? You can imagine it, but it's very clearly labeled. Don't make me dub it, okay? I'm saying this in case you're listening to this and not watching it, so pay a little attention now. Take a look. Lo miréis para saber qué dice Mo.
Now, pardon the redundancy, you can imagine it, but it's really outrageous. Without going back to Real Madrid, if he can actually say no to Florentino, take a look.
Story. You can probably imagine it's outrageous. Look. In football, it's not the professionals who are interested in going or not going. I think that when things start, and I'm not referring to any specific case, I'm speaking in general, when something happens, with players, with coaches, with club executives, it's the clubs that have an interest, and it's the clubs that start or don't start procedures to try to get the people they want.
That's interesting because he's saying, just in case, before saying anything, that he hasn't had any contact with Real Madrid yet. And now we'll explain why Mourinho had to say this. He can't say anything else. Benfica is paying him. He's just doing his job. Keep in mind, it's the clubs that have an interest in signing players or coaches. He wants to clarify, since there are different stories, whether Mourinho is putting himself forward or Madrid is pursuing him. I believe the latter. The truth is that Mourinho is thrilled that Madrid is coming after him. He's absolutely crazy about it. But again, I think the second version is more likely. Well, that's what he makes clear.
They keep talking about Real Madrid, and I keep avoiding it. But in all honesty, I haven't had any contact, neither with the president nor with any of the important people in the organization. And by my own decision, a decision similar to others I've made throughout my career. Especially now, at the end of the season, I don't talk to anyone. I didn't have any contact with Real Madrid, I didn't. And until the final league match against Estoril, I won't have any contact either. Afterwards, pay attention here.
I'll comment on what was just said.
There's a window of about a week, freedom to talk to whoever I think I should talk to, but all the stories that have come out, demands, meetings, it's all. É tudo especulação.
It's all speculation. He doesn't call it a lie, just speculation. Mourinho uses language skillfully here. Let's go step by step. When he says he hasn't had any contact with anyone from Real Madrid, he's just playing his part by saying he hasn't. I'm convinced that there has already been some contact here, obviously. Now, he's only telling part of the truth. He hasn't had any meetings or anything personally with Florentino Perez or someone from Real Madrid and talk about this topic seriously or negotiate. But that there has already been some contact, of course. He says, in my career, I haven't done this. Man, when Madrid signed him from Inter, it's known that practically the day after winning the Champions League, it was already made official that he was coming to Madrid. How could they not have been talking before? Well, of course they were. Of course. And here it's the same. The truth is that Mourinho says this because it's what he has to say. Imagine if he said, no, yes, I've already talked to Florentino Perez. Man, that would cause a mess. He wants to finish the league strong where he's undefeated, even though he won't win. And he wants to secure the club's presence in the Champions League next season and all that. But logically. By the way, he's talking about that match against Estoril, which isn't tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken, but next weekend. And that's where Benfica finishes the league. And there he says a window opens in which he could talk to whoever he wants. Well, that's when that in-person meeting will take place. No, so he's confirming everything. And the part where there are people who say, no, but he's denying the meetings is because, and we're not new to this man can't say he's already had the meeting, for God's sake. Come on, he would stir up his club and especially the president, Rui Costa, just so that anyway, hours before an important match and the next one, he causes trouble. No, but anyway, everything is moving forward. Apparently, according to what I've heard Ramon say, in those negotiations, Mourinho would be asking Real Madrid for 2 years, and he wants those 2 years to be respected, so that the project is in a way protected, although Madrid isn't protected from anything. Because, well, anyway, someone gets signed for 3 years and they get kicked out after 6 months. That he's going to take his team with him because there's a disruptive element there, which is Pintus. And no, according to what Ramon says, it's not that Mourinho... No, it's not that he absolutely doesn't want Pintus. Mourinho just wants to make it clear he wants his own staff. Well, just like Xavi Alonso wanted, and like any coach would want, if the club came and said, hey, but why are you going to bring in someone else here when I have my own people? No, obviously, and the people who come with Mourinho, sorry, they won't be useless or incompetent. I mean, these people will be fitness and conditioning professionals and all that. I say this because then there are people who say, well, some people just want to be right and say, no, those trainers or those professionals are really bad. No, in fact, in the last case, they came from winning the league in Germany against a team like Bayern. And in this case, they will come from a club like Benfica. And with the trust of a coach like Mourinho. I mean, it's not that we think that here, even though a lot of people do, right? But it's always about insisting on that just to be right, isn't it? The thing about, no, here, physical conditioning is very important. Of course, it's very important. But what about having certified professionals with the trust of great coaches coming here? And then to be right, let's say, no, it's just that they're not good enough. Sorry, here. Except for very extreme cases, of course, everyone is good enough. They're all qualified professionals and they all have their resumes. And this gentleman will come with that and with every right in the world. Well, just like all coaches do. Even though that might later lead to a small conflict with something very personal, which is the situation between Florentino and Pintus. I hope it gets resolved and that this doesn't become an issue. I mean, let's not start off on the wrong foot with this, right? And then there's the matter of help with communication, which according to Ramon, back in the day, Mourinho had to handle all of that himself. And now he wants the club to support him and not stay silent about certain things. I don't know if he'll be as combative as he was years ago. I hope so, honestly. But anyway, that's another one of his demands. So we'll see. I can't stay quiet about what I saw yesterday. Changing the subject, it's about the penalty given to Real Sociedad. What a coincidence it happened against Betis and at their stadium. Was this at Betis Stadium? Oh, no, it was at Anoeta, sorry. But anyway, it doesn't matter. It's the same thing. There's a handball here by Ruibal, who's in the same position, blocking a cross, not a shot, okay? In the same position where they called the penalty, okay? Like the one Ricardo Rodriguez had against Betis, that handball caused by Brahim, it's the same, man. It's exactly the same, dude. the same, plus one blocked a shot, another a cross. This wasn't a penalty, but that one was. Well, look, just a reminder, in case we forget, that this league, besides the fact that we don't deserve to win it, in a way, it's also been stolen from us, right? And let's see tonight in the Clásico. Let's see tonight in the Clásico, because it could be the final straw. As for us, of course, let's see how we play and how we're doing. And what about the referee decisions? Hey, or maybe not, because now it turns out that, and this is another classic, also from Negre Irato, and how refereeing has been handled in Spain in recent years. When the title is already gone, that's when they start to favor you and even things out, right? To whitewash it all later, right? It wouldn't be the first time. Well, hope everything goes well for you. Give a like if you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe to the channel, comment, share, follow me on Big Up. I'll be there. The link is in the description. And that's it. We'll be there after the match on the YouTube live stream. As always, bye.